Welcome back to Dum-Dums and Dragons, where improvisers who've never roleplayed before journey into the world of Dungeons and Dragons. I am the Great Wizard Bukake, your host. Our heroes are traveling ever deeper into the mines. Butthole kept everyone protected inside his hammer field. Juniper tried to free the Gerbils from a control spell and got attacked instead. And Quinny rescued her so they could all keep moving forwards. What will they discover in the ruins of an ancient Dwarven Forge? Find out next on Dum-Dums and Dragons.
Before you stands a massive forge surrounded by an army of mannequins.
God.
You see a sort of large 4-station forge. So there's 4 bellows, there's 4, basically 4 full stations where 4 blacksmiths could be working. In a room that was clearly rough-hewn, you can see, again, just some of the workmanship of the dwarves on the walls. But everything that has been added, including the forge, feels very alien. Doesn't feel at home in this space at all. Most notably, because I know you'll be worried about this, so I'm just going to put it out there. There are humanoid-sized exits to the left and right of this large room. You can reasonably guess that one leads in the direction of the boss's office and one leads in the direction of the dig site. However, they look to have been added later. They are cracked out of the wall rather than sort of worked into it. The army of mannequins is very much a 3-story Tony Stark Iron Man armor setup situation where there's kind of mannequins set up with various pieces of armor. There's there's a couple of almost complete suits, but generally it's kind of pauldrons or bracers in various styles. And you can, I think at a quick glance, it's very clear to see the evolution of some of these designs and sort of the prototyping going on.
Does it have is it museum or functional
Yeah, functional. So think a bit of that museum vibe, a bit of how they often show Batman or Robin displaying their stuff in the Batcave, but done in the style of a library where there's those ladders that get you up and down to the sort of three rungs or the 3 things. It is a high roof. It is, I mean, it's not full 3 stories, but probably each floor is about, we'll say 7 feet. Gotcha. So a little bit taller than sort of a humanoid. And the heat seems to be drifting off of this forge that isn't tended. It doesn't, this isn't the classic, you show up at the campfire's still warm situation. But even from here, based on the smell and the location and everything else, it seems like there must be a thermal vent of some sort that's been tapped to provide the heat. Even though the forge isn't tended, it seems like it wouldn't take too much to get it up and going again. Around here, you can see a variety of blacksmith's tools. You can, again, think of these as 4 workstations that are all around off of a central, the furnace would be kind of at the center. And then there's the four little workstations. Each station has seems to have you can think of them almost as chef stations where each one has a little bit of a different flair. Things are arranged slightly differently, but a variety of tools have been left at 3 of the 4 stations. One has been cleared out. And you can see unfinished armor actually on the anvils of all 4 stations. It's half hammered, breastplate, partially finished chainmail, that sort of thing. Noticeably no weapons. It's all armor. Reginald and Butthole, can you please roll me history checks?
Yes. All right.
Or Butthole with advantage would be fine.
Reginald's got grim psychometry. So is this a dark place or is this just a regular place, Tom?
I mean, my understanding of grim psychometry is he can't necessarily tell if it's one or the other until he touches it.
Okay, so I'll roll for them separately because they'll have different abilities then.
Yep.
So Butthole gets a nat 1. He's never been here. He doesn't fucking know dog shit about this goddamn place. That feels correct. He doesn't know anything. He didn't leave the palace. He was too busy getting like beat up and living a terrible, terrible life.
I wanted the guy who had a great life.
Yeah. Reginald scores a 24.
Whew.
As he steps forward and just like touches one of the forges so that he can get a feel for the room.
All right. So there isn't a ton of darkness to this room. I'll say it's a combination of you get like a little, like a soupçon, like a whiff of darkness off of it. But it's also just Reginald's training and study. This entire room is like very much in the style of Aka, but closer to his Aka, and also old. Like this is a weird poll, but the equivalent of if you see the early logos to things and you're like, yeah, like I can connect the dots to tell you that, you know, the Google logo looks like it looks now, but back in the day when it was real, like there were just serifs for days. You know, it's that kind of thing where it's close, but everything is just off a bit. And the whiff of darkness that you get from touching it, Reginald, is just that this is a war forge of a Ka. Like that there is no there's basically no version of a Ka where you don't get a hint of this, just because it is a warlike nation that does generally bad things in the interest of out of self-interest. So you get that, but it's not beyond that. There's no, you know, you don't get the recreated crime scene thing that we've seen before. You don't get like, oh my God, something horrific happened here. You just get like, yeah, this is one of ours.
This is kind of greasy. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. He'll just kind of pass that news along. And then Butthole will just be like, all right, so this looks like it's going to be the old classic speed looting. So everybody, you get like 5 minutes to steal whatever you need. Reginald, I think we need to put you over by the front door because I kind of have an idea. And Butthole will take Reginald over to the front door as Butthole's hammers go out. And Butthole would like to cast Thaumaturgy, which he can do to make fire burn even brighter. And he can cast Thaumaturgy up to 3 times and stack the effects. So essentially, he wants to take Reginald's flaming warhammer and just make it the brightest fucking light he can. Because they, like, Gerbils seem to not like light. So if we put Reginald at the door with that, A, he can see as far as humanly possible, and B, super fucking bright light seems to be Gerbil resistant.
Yep. I dig that.
Reginald's just like, Quinny, you need to find me something nice if I'm going to do a job over here.
I'm looking. I like doing this. I will do it. You don't have to twist my arm.
All right, Quinny, go ahead and let's go with an investigation, I think.
Okay. 22.
All right. So this armor is well designed. It is in prototyping, so it's not really great for wearing at this point. You'd have to basically like work on it a bit. A good way to think of this is like, yeah, the shape is right, the density is right, but it's not built to be worn yet. It's like, let's build the big clunky version and then we'll refine it over time.
So nothing in this room is the finished product.
No. Okay. It seems to be sort of, again, like a lot of prototyping. What'd you roll on? Sorry, refresh 22. My memory. 22. Okay, you could probably find finished, like a finished piece or two, but there is no complete set likely to be found in here. Also, from the looks of things, from you just having a quick eyeball of a lot of this stuff, It doesn't seem to be like particularly special armor other than what it's made of. So you can determine that it is made that like it's adamantine. So like it is good in as much as the metal that is being used to make it is very fucking good. It's also odd to see this much adamantine in one spot, but of course it is an adamantine mine, so not entirely unreasonable. But from the looks of things, this isn't hero's armor. This is like military armor, like military grade armor,
mass-produced infantry armor.
Yeah, and that seems to be where it's going. Like it's not quite there yet, which means that like again, a hero such as Reginald could absolutely wear a piece of this if he wanted, but it's not. You know, no one's making this for the general necessarily, unless the general's wearing this is like rank and file armor, but a fucking heavy suit and a lot of it. It would seem.
All right.
It's also a lot of with the amount of variations. It's clear to you that there is something that is being attempted here over and above aesthetics. Like they're not just doing it. They're not redesigning everything for funsies. There seems to be a reason, because any one of these designs would be fine to just wear as armor.
Can I deduce what the reason would be based on what we have here on hand?
I don't know that you can necessarily. You could talk to people, but like just from you looking at it, I think it's clear. Like basically, because like if let's say you're looking at like bracers, right? So looking at 4 bracers, you're like any one of these is a fine functional design. And they're not doing radically different things with it. It's not like, well, this one has wings and this one has gills and this one has that. It's literally just like very similar, but variations in design that you can't. And again, I think without an understanding of really what's happening here or metallurgy or anything else, like I don't really know that Quinny. All Quinny can tell is like they should have stopped at 1 and they went on and made 5. So something's amiss.
Quinny, as you're looking at this, trying to map this out, you just start to hear like pieces of metal just slamming together. And when you look back, you see Butthole has taken out his tummy bag and he is just loading all of the blacksmith tools from the 3 stations into the tummy bag. And then he looks at you and he's like, oh, I didn't mean to interrupt. I just thought like, if it can work adamantine, it's probably better than what anybody has back at the fortress. So we could bring that for our blacksmiths and then they'd get like nice stuff.
Yeah, that's a decent idea. This armor's all garbage as far as I can tell. Like they gave up on these designs and tried other stuff. So I don't know if anything here is really worth taking. It's fine like infantry armor, but it's like they're trying to do something like that and then more, taking it a step further in some way, which I don't understand. Like it's a massive army. Like, what are you trying to do that's so special? Just put the armor on your guys and send them to war. I don't get it.
Maybe Juniper just pipes up like, I mean, it might be worthwhile figuring out what they were doing, considering we're probably going to have to face an army dressed as such.
Yeah, this place looks pretty old. I don't know if they exactly are bringing new uniforms out of here. This is
well,
decades.
I mean, look, people just dropped their shit and left. Like that's a piece still on the anvil. Like they took off, I'm assuming because of our rat friends back there.
What are you guys talking about? I can't quite hear you from the door.
Nothing, it's fine.
Snarf,
Okay,
snarf.
You see Gerbils, you tell me.
Yep.
Bottle's gonna be like, maybe we can find a plan if we go into the boss's office. Quinny, what's adamantine worth? Like, if we could take some of these bracers or something, you think maybe we'll trade it for like seeds or some shit? Something actually useful?
Can Quinny ballpark the value of adamantine?
It is. In Marvel terms, this is like vibranium. Like it is very
Not adamantium.
No, actually, for very specific reasons we'll get into later, it is not like adamantium.
Okay.
Which I know would have really fucking saved me some time, but no. So it's an extraordinarily rare resource, and one that is incredibly like useful for building weapons and tools. So like if you want to load up that tummy bag, it is very fucking heavy. And I know we play pretty fast and loose with the tummy bag, but like you can't loot this whole room. You could maybe take like a suit.
Yeah, I think Butthole would be focused on the idea of like what's the most portable and what's the most saleable. If it's super expensive, we probably can't move a whole suit in theory.
There's like raw ore around, so you
say raw ore is a possibility, or if we get like gloves, bracers, helmets, like all the lighter pieces where we're like, hey, we got a couple of rings, hey, we got a couple of gloves, hey, we got a couple of bracers, all smaller pieces that we could like sell to somebody or theoretically trade. He's like thinking about the fortress functionally and just being like, if everything goes wrong and we have to get out of here, if we can go home and be like, well, we got a bunch of money that we could trade to fucking feed people better, and we got a bunch of other stuff, then that's like the smart profit in his brain. I don't know. Does that make sense to you, Quinny, or should we be stealing something else? You're good at fencing.
No, this shit's worth a lot. Adamantine. It's worth the effort, I would say, especially if we're funding a revolution and all that shit.
All right, so pick the lightest but highest value shit you think we can trade or sell. Or we can just do ore, whatever. We'll see what the bag will hold.
Given these different concentrations, or not concentrations, but these different iterations of armor, are there some that have a higher concentration of adamantine on them?
I mean, they're pretty even. I would say the easiest, like based on your role, I think it's safe to say like you can just find the best ratioed stuff.
Okay.
Where it's just like, in classic Skyrim fashion, just like, okay, what's the least heavy but most sellable shit? And yeah, it's all mismatched and none of it would work together and you'd look like an idiot, but like, cha-ching.
Okay.
But yeah, you're able to basically steal like a goodly amount of that, I think.
In my estimation, how much is that all worth? If we just say it's all together, that we would offload it at once, what would we get for it?
I mean, in a non-zombie apocalypse scenario, you're looking at about 5,000 gold.
Okay, 5,000 gold pieces worth of gear we've got there, assuming there's a functional economy at some point again.
Well, if there is no functional economy at some point, then, I mean, almost bigger problems to deal with.
It's extremely cheap gear, then. Yeah.
So is that stuff worth a lot? Because if it is, get me a really thick helmet.
It depends. Depends on a lot of things.
You gonna wear the helmet right now?
I'll take a really thick helmet.
Yeah, you're gonna wear it right now?
No, I just want to carry it.
Okay, no, you just want to carry it? No, you put it on your head or you don't take it.
I already have a helmet. I got given one by the king.
Then you're fine.
No, I want the nicer helmet that's more expensive.
These are not nice.
I will lean this hammer against the door and go get myself a helmet, or you can bring me one.
Reginald feels a helmet hit him in the back.
Reginald,
hey,
you
as he always yells when hit with stuff by surprise.
You pick it up, alas poor Yorick style, and it does you have a bit of an ill feeling. Okay, also it's very heavy. This is gonna like it's thick, but it's kind of like wearing a pot on your head, which works for the Pim-Pims of the world, but perhaps not the Reggies of the world. Can you roll me a history or an insight? The problem you're going to run into here is your grim psychometry doesn't actually fit this for reasons. So
I'm just rolling a regular history, not a grim psychometry.
Correct.
Okay.
So many secrets, Tom.
Mm-hmm.
That is a 22.
22. You vaguely recognize this style from a children's book that you read at a young age about the gruesome flaying and dismemberment of the Traitor Legion, and their helmets in the crude pictures that are etched into your mind. Not rubbed, but etched, due to the tremendously Grimm's fairy tales directed by Lars von Trier style grimness and goriness of a minor legion that was annihilated early in Aka's history. But yes, that's what these helmets vaguely remind you of.
And he'd relay that to the group. And then he would just take that helmet and basically tie it to his waist, where he would just... Basically, Reginald's plan is, knowing this stuff is super fucking tough, he'll just take it back and get it reworked to make himself a helmet in his own particular head-protecting style. So for him, it's mainly scrap that he's just going to carry. He's not going to tell everybody that, but that's his plan, is like, when I get through this, I will make a helmet that will never break, and it will mean that Butthole can always bring me back. Yes, an invincibility helmet. And that's just like monologuing to himself inside his head.
Great. Juniper, is there anything in this room that's of interest to you? This is like fairly far outside your normal oeuvre, but is there anything here that speaks to you?
Now, Juniper's been really unable to use her stone skin for a bit because it requires a lot of diamond dust. I'm wondering if there's any way she could incorporate adamantine dust.
Yeah, I'd buy that. I think that argument's fair. Also, that's not something you would normally be able to find, but given that this is there's like dust bins full of cast off incredibly expensive material. So yeah, I'd say Laura, this will give you enough for 3 charges.
Oh, lovely. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Very happy.
I also just like the idea of Juniper like rolling up to each garbage can, just like scooping out a fistful, dumping it into the thing.
Yeah, she's just got little pockets like hanging from her chair that she's just ready to just like throw like
Again, I've already described my love of pocket sand and building that canonically into your chair. A+. Have yourself an inspiration.
Actually?
Yeah, I'm not kidding.
I have so many, Tom.
Oh, well.
I already have 2.
Start spending mine. I got 2.
Because you let me have 2.
Congratulations, you now have 3. I won't make this mistake again.
Jesus.
Sorry.
It's all right. It just means I have to hit Juniper all the harder. Cool. Anything else anyone is doing in this room?
Taking the tools, taking a lot of money's worth of armor.
Can I get a perception check from Reginald, please?
Yes, you can.
I'll give you advantage because the hammer is giving you tremendous sight.
That is a 13.
13?
It's actually a decent roll for him.
So, Reginald, because you can barely hear the conversation behind you, I think you're focusing all your attention forward, and you are unfortunately like very much in like the person left to keep watch during a horror movie zone, where you keep hearing noises, but you can't really locate where they're coming from, and you don't see anything. Or if you do, it's out of the corner of your eye. When you turn, it's nothing but shadow beyond the light of your hammer. But you are on edge.
Yeah, that sounds about right for Reginald. That checks out.
Yep, great.
Thanks for that new information.
13's just fantastic at giving you atmosphere. It's equivalent of reading the back of the box. Like, oh, cool. A movie happens in this movie. All right. Great. So it sounds like you've done everything you wanted to do in this, in the forge. Where would you want to go next?
Boss room, right? We're looking for a map.
Yeah.
Maybe
that's
even
the plan.
now we can see if there's any kind of documents on, a work order for why this shit's being built and rebuilt and redesigned.
Yeah, I guess what happened to our world's trader legion or whatever Reginald said. Maybe that's here.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Would you go back? Would you take the human-sized door here or the official, entryway back at the junction?
The big tunnel kind of thing?
Mm-hmm.
I think we should go the little sideway so we're not going back to where the Gerbils were.
Yeah, that works for me.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you want to take point, Invisible Man, and then we can have the blinding torch bring up the rear?
Yeah, all right. That sounds good to me.
So Reginald will be at the back of the group, just facing backwards, with Butthole having a hand on his belt, just walking forwards at the same speed. Reginald's just ready to fuck shit up with his flaming hammer. That is almost blinding him. It's so bright. Like, he has to raise it up beside his head. Otherwise, it's in front of him. He gets that, like, flashes in his retinas.
Yeah, he's just got nothing but the afterglow thing. So you make
if it were a happier day, he would write his own name in the air, but it's not a happier day.
Quinny, again, like, I don't know why I bother. Can you roll a stealth check for me there, bud?
Maybe I'll roll a natural one and then another natural one after that because I have lucky.
Statistically, 1 in 400 times that might happen.
17.
Well, today's not that day.
So 32.
Yeah, today is not that day.
Yeah. I owe Viggo Mortensen $1 every time I do that. So you head down this again this human-sized exit, and again you can tell that it's been like worked in differently. The workmanship, like, this is very much like the Homer Simpson car, or like that spice rack he made of tunnels compared to what you've seen, where like you can see the pickaxe strikes, everything is kind of jagged, and it's not due to lack of desire to have a nice hallway. It seems to just be from a distinct lack of skill at this. So the tunnel works, like this human-sized sort of hallway works. It's just ugly as shit. And at times you're finding like weird bulges where things weren't quite squared away correctly.
Okay. This doesn't seem like dwarven work. But I'll carry on.
Correct.
Tom, the armor that was in the previous room, was it just dwarf scale or was it human scale?
It was very much humanoid scale.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought so. I just wanted to be 100%.
Yeah. Yep. Definitely not dwarven. And the style, like, of the metal and everything else you've seen to this point, like, it didn't match the mine carts. It didn't have the logo etched into it that you've seen everywhere to this point. It was just a different style of thing. And that's true of the armor as well as the forge itself. It felt very much like the forge and those armor racks were added to an existing room, not that they were the original room. The hallway ends in a door that is closed, like just a normal ass wooden door that is marked again with like an off-brand font of the nation of Akka. And there is a small plate that's been drilled into it that says Foreman Gulper.
Does the door move when I press on it?
Yep. It's just got a doorknob.
Okay.
And so if you like, it's literally like if you were just like walking through a place, it's a wooden door you would expect to see in like a mansion.
Oh, okay. Are you guys hanging back, or are you guys basically slowly following me up?
Slowly following.
I was going to say, we're slowly moving. We can't see you, so
Yeah.
we're moving relative to our own slow and cautious pace.
Okay. I'll open the door.
It creaks so fucking loudly. Like, this is some proper horror movie ugly creaking.
Mm-hmm.
And as it does, I assume you're just like opening it to peek through, or you're like fully opening it?
Opening it to look through.
Okay. It creaks open, and you see a flurry of movement within a large circular room. And this is like you can see in the dark, right, Quinny?
Yep.
This is a like a Saul Goodman office, where it's just like a large, overly ornate room. You can see large, like there seems to be a large wraparound mural in the style similar to the Break Room of Morning, but also to the etching you saw on the map of glorious bosses, just delivering wonder and joy to their just ever so grateful employees. You see sort of, you can't read Dwarven, so you can't read it, but there's words etched around the top, kind of like "In God We Trust" around Saul's office. If you've seen Breaking Bad, it's dominated by a massive desk, a big desk, if you will.
Massive in the sense that, this is D&D, so is it like a storm giant's desk, or is it...
No. Yes, sorry, fair enough. It is a large desk that would be large for a humanoid and massive for someone of dwarven stature.
Okay.
Which you gather is probably the point, as there are 2 dwarf-sized chairs sculpted into the ground in front of it. And you can see a wing-backed stone chair behind the desk. You get the sense it's a bit of like a Napoleon situation where it's clearly like raised up on high. The flurry of motion, which is of course the most concerning thing, is a number of dwarves dressed in tattered old mining garb. That seem to be moving around in the office, similar to like squirrels or raccoons, in that when the door creaks, they all stop what they're doing, and as one turn towards the door.
And what are they doing?
They seem to just be kind of like bumbling around the space. There's like paperwork everywhere, just fucking everywhere. And it almost looks like some of them were trying to file, some of them were sorting, but in a really chaotic way. Again, you just catch a glimpse of this before they all stop. You can roll me an insight if you want to see if you can if your brain can make the quick connection.
I probably can't. Insight +0. So that's a 6.
6? Yeah, you just like, I think the creaking annoys you so much as a stealthy guy that even though they can't, like they all turn toward you, you're so stressed about that you're not fully engaged with what's going on in the space. Someone else might be able to help you ascertain what's going on in here. So here's the challenge. Everyone is still coming up behind you. They haven't stopped.
And we have the brightest light in the universe.
The brightest light possible. You've opened a door and drawn their attention.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do?
I quickly and quietly about face and run back to the group, removing my ring and waving my arms like, stop.
Okay. I don't think I need to make you roll for that. I think that's a pretty clear thing. So all of you shuffle slightly further back down the hall. I assume you like hood the fucking shining light of day a little bit. And if you want, you can fall back a bit closer to the forge.
Yeah, I think just so that Quinny can be sure that we can have a conversation without our voices traveling down the hall.
So the group will move with you, and Butthole will just be like, okay, so what did you see?
It's a big office with a really big desk.
Okay.
And there are dwarves in there.
What?
Yeah, dwarves are in there, but they're just kind of...
Alive dwarves?
As alive as the mole rats seem.
Okay, so maybe undead.
They're just kind of bumbling around, not doing anything. Like they're not like working, you know what I mean? Like they're just, I don't know, fucking around in there. And as soon as the door creaked, they all stopped and looked at where the sound came from.
Okay, weird question. Were they dressed like the dead people that you tried to rob and then we smushed?
I couldn't tell. Their clothes were all ripped up and tattered.
I think like vaguely enough that you can probably, it's hard to tell, but in the ballpark, yeah.
Okay. Seems like it.
Okay, because like Reginald had that vision that was all zombies, right? and we found the one room that had no dead dwarves in it. So what if it's like a bunch of zombies that just kind of got forgotten or left somewhere, so they're just like trying to sort their shit out? Does that make sense?
Go through the motions of their past lives, maybe?
Ooh, that's clever. I like that.
Yeah, that could be. There's a lot of paper around in there, maybe clerical stuff. I don't know. Speaking of clerical stuff, I think it's your turn to shine, sir. You speak Dwarven, so if there's any semblance of intelligence left in there, you can at least start a warm conversation in their mother tongue. If not, you can do some nasty things to the undead. Or if it's a third thing and they're not undead and they're just as fucked up and feral as these mole rats are, well, then it's just time for us all to kick ass.
Okay, so I'll go first, and then you guys, or I guess Quinny, if you go and sneak into the room, and then you can leave the door open, and then I'll go and be like, hey, what's up? And we'll see how that goes, and you guys can come with me, and then if it goes bad, we hammer everybody.
Yeah.
Or stab as if invisibly as Quinny, or Juniper.
I take no issue with the specificity of how we kill these people.
Great. Juniper, is there any sort of weird way you want to try to save them that we can be aware of in advance and build into our combat plan so you don't climb under another bridge?
Honestly, if they're undead, that it means they're already dead, so no.
Alrighty, so I'll start with the talking, and then I'll do a little bit of god stuff, and then we just smash shit.
Yep, think so.
All right, Quinny, go invisible it up.
Ring goes on. And Quinny basically goes to this door and tries to, if we're talking about horror movie tropes before, just have this door lazily swing open on its hinges. But it's actually him, opening the door invisibly, gauging the response there.
I think I'm going to go with a deception check on this one rather than a stealth check. Yeah.
You are lying to the air.
So it's a 23.
Okay. So the door lazily swings open. And they're all still staring at the door when you get there. You ease the door open. And again, they're just all staring at the door for a second. And you probably give this like a bit, eh? Like you're not rushing
I
this.
am motionless at the door.
After an exceedingly long few seconds of silence, a couple of them almost their shoulders slump a little bit. They're less kind of like meerkats, being like, huh? And they look to the desk. And you can see as they do that there is a body slumped in the wingback chair that is like a skull head with that classic Lord of the Rings like scraggly beard that hung on situation, but is motionless. And then one of them staggers toward you and the door.
I am silently moving into the room, doing like as deftly as possible, like a Marco Polo situation, right? They're all and are trying to maybe reach out or just move through the space, and I am trying to invisibly evade everyone like a laser grid in a heist movie.
Love that. You got real Squid Game vibes.
Starts loudly stomping forwards because he's guessed that this is how long Quinny needed.
The one who hits the door, reaches the door, just straight up closes it. Like very efficiently, just slams it shut. And then turns to the desk. At which point, Butthole, I assume you clomp up.
Yeah, Butthole's gonna knock.
They all freeze.
Quinny also frozen.
Yeah.
Invisibly like, what the fuck?
Yeah, they all like look at the door again.
And Butthole's gonna say, in Dwarven, hello, I'm Butthole. I would like to talk to whoever is in charge, please.
Gotta roll a dice, hang on. Okay. Interesting. Quinny, half of them turn to the desk, and half of them stalk towards the door.
All right. I go to the desk to this person in the chair. It's a corpse.
Yep. It's a corpse of a dwarf, wearing a much different outfit than even what you see depicted on the walls. It seems to be, you can see just the faintest hint of gold and black. And it honestly looks a little bit like what you've seen the war priests of Akka wearing.
Okay.
But like an older, worse version, kind of like, as you do. But with a massive medallion around the neck that has the symbol etched into it that you've seen on the coffins and some of the things that were inside them.
Okay.
So many rings on the fingers. Yeah. Like, you don't know how the fingers worked because too many rings. But this thing is not moving. It's not giving cool directions.
No, I would like it to, though. I would like to invisibly grab the hand and arm and have it raise up to give the appearance of this corpse just saying, halt, raising a hand to say stop.
Going full Weekend at Bernie's on me, huh? All right. Yeah. I dig it. Let's get deception. I'll give you advantage.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
So a 3 on the first one. Ooh, and a 12. So that makes it 25.
Okay. The ones that are looking at it, twitching a bit, like uncomfortably, drop to their knee, like to one knee, and kind of like bow their heads to the desk. Does not stop the ones that are moving to the door.
Do they notice?
They do not.
Then I curl the fist and I make it move down quickly to the desk, but I don't smash it into the desk. I kick the desk to make the stomping sound.
Yeah, I get it. You're napping the punch.
Yeah. Full on trying to puppeteer this guy without him breaking apart in my hands.
Yep. Okay, in that case, I'm going to need... I mean, again, you're very good at this. Let's go sleight of hand.
Okay. Oh, boy. 31.
So yeah, you pull it off masterfully. If anyone was watching this, they'd be all about it. Fist comes down, hit, like you hit the thing. The ones who are on their knees look up, and it's very much the look that you previously saw at the door. And even though they're twitching, they all start to converge on the desk. So there were 12 dwarves in this room. The 6 that were distracted by you start to converge on the desk. The other 6 continue to converge on the door.
Knock, knock, knock. Hello.
Yeah,
I was
I'm
hoping
running
someone would talk to me. I heard that there might be dwarves around. I'm really lonely and I want to make some friends.
You see the doorknob turn. And swing open, and you just see 6 dwarves in kind of rotting minor gear bare their teeth and start to surge towards you as we roll fresh initiative, and you see inscribed on the wall circling the boss's office, remember, workers' work is workers' reward.
Hello, new. Ah, fuck.
This episode of Dum-Dums and Dragons features the voices of Ryan LaPlante at the Ryan LaPlante on Twitter, Tyler Hewitt at Tyler_Hewitt on Twitter, Laura Hamstra at EL Hamstring on Twitter, and our DM Tom McGee at McGeeTD on Twitter. This episode's sound was edited and mixed by Laura Hamstra, and Dum-Dums and Dragons artwork is by Del Borovic, who can be found at delborovic.com. Our theme songs are And Now for That Massive Coronary and Skipping Through the Orchestra Pit Part 1 by Peter Gresser, and our ad music is No Control and Chiefs by Jazzar, Jahzzar, all available at freemusicarchive.org. When it comes to Dum-Dums and Dice, you can visit our website at dumdumdice.com. Our Twitter and Instagram are at dumdumdice, and on Facebook at facebook.com/dumdumdice. But most importantly, we've got merchandise at redbubble.com/people/dumdumdice, or you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/dumdumdice. That's DUMBDICE. And tune in next week for more Dum-Dums and Dragons. Dum-Dums and Dice has to give a special thank you to the supreme beings of our Patreon at this time. The Half-Blind Prophet, Christopher Little, Sue One, George Dolby, Richard Cranium, Gavin and Abby McDonald, Logan, Fire Unfriendly, Grandma Likes D&D, Alan, Stabby Stranger, Glitch Trick, Roman Brown, Spot Allen, Flynn1138, Alarain Okapi, OMG, it's Big Nick, D&D and Things, Norma Byers, Schrodinger's Pepper, Guy Edwards, Flea Unit, Madre de Gatos, Lady Maiden, Melissa Rain, Nithrian, Garbo Ape, Locke, Sam Schaefer, and Jill and Noel LaPlante. If you want your name to be added to this list, you can join our Patreon too at patreon.com/dumdumdice. Thanks to them, and a little bit of thanks to you.